Hello, this is Deborah Yao with Black Education TV. I'm going to focus on the city of Detroit, Wayne County. Now, I spent the majority of my life in Wayne County, so this subject is very near and dear to my heart. I watched a video today that was very sad indeed, and it kind of pulled at my heartstrings to see what was taking place. Now, I understand that there's a process to doing things, but sometimes our people get lost in the shuffle. Now, what I'm talking about is people losing their homes for delinquent taxes. In many cases, we're talking about people who have owned their homes 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you see. And I must admit, there was a laxed tax regulatory system in Detroit for a very long time in Wayne County. Things got so out of hand to where they are implementing new rules, but even with the new rules, they are not doing things properly, in which the video that I saw actually spoke on that, how they're not assessing taxes properly. So you'll have someone who own their home, they spent a few $1,000s to purchase the home, they've been in it for years, and the assessed value of the taxes is so high that they can't even afford to live in the house because they can't pay the taxes. And so they eventually lose the home because you have some real estate investor who comes and purchases the taxes, and the person loses their home. Now, having been in real estate before, we've never purchased tax homes, but I understand how the system works, and frankly, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair because you'll have a person who have put thousands on top of thousands into their home. They've lived in it a long time, and it really doesn't matter how long they've lived in it, to be honest with you. The fact that they can spend X amount of dollars for a home and someone else can come and buy that home right out from under you because of delinquent taxes. I mean, we're talking about your taxes can be as little as $500 delinquent, and someone who hasn't put one dime into your property can come and buy it out from under you. That is one of the most bogus laws I've ever heard of in my life. So what you have are a lot of our people in the city of Detroit losing their homes. And I watched as, you know, one woman they focused on this particular video, how they were talking about, you know, how she was, you know, referring to her owning the home, and her children grew up there, her grandchildren, and, you know, they've had a lot of memories there. And then there's this real estate investor and his dad living out, I believe, in West Bloomfield or Bloomfield Hills. Now, I'm from Wayne County. I spent the majority of my life there, so I'm very familiar with what is taking place there and the areas, and, you know, how the real estate market is, because we were in real estate. But I just don't think this particular thing is fair on how they do things. Now, you have these Gentiles, these people who live in a mansion that's, you can tell, is worth a lot of money based on the area alone, Bloomfield or West Bloomfield. This is not a suburban neighborhood as in typical suburban neighborhoods. This is a ritzy mansion type neighborhood where there are millionaires, you see. Now, this guy and his dad, they go and they buy over 300 homes in the city of Detroit. And they are specifically targeting homes that have tax delinquencies on them, where the owner still lives in the house and they owe X amount of dollars for taxes, for back taxes. Those homes they're looking for because they know these people took care of those homes. They were showing us this guy's going through the neighborhood. He's saying, oh, the roof is in great condition. The house looks well kept. It's a brick home. It's solid. The grass is cut. I mean, even if the neighborhood isn't the greatest, they know that there's a person who cares about the home living there. 9 times out of 10, the homeowner. And so those are the homes they target. One lady they focused on, I felt so awful for her because of, you know, her family growing up in the house, and they just kind of bought it out from under her, and she was left in tears. for just, very little amount of money. And so we have this gentrification thing going on around this country where our people are being displaced. Those who were homeowners are going back to being renters because of a system that is not fair. I just don't understand how someone could take your home for just a few $100s in taxes. Just don't understand it. Doesn't make sense, not fair at all. But this is what's happening around the country. People being displaced, losing their homes because they can't afford to pay the taxes. And the sad thing about it is because of poor record keeping and follow-up and, just basic overall running of a city. A lot of people's property taxes were over-assessed. And sadly, in Wayne County, I'm just going to keep it real right here. Now, I know you have different racial groups that work in Wayne County, but the majority, or a large majority, are so-called black people. And when you have our own people sitting on the other end of a deal, like in the case of the two white men who bought the 300 homes in the city of Detroit, they were showing their two female employees, two black women, and they're sitting there saying, I think we got this one. I think we won this one for 80. Yep, we won that house. We won this one. You see, they're talking about the winning of the property tax bids, and they were doing it all online from their home in this rich neighborhood. And she's like, we won another one. And it's like, do you even care who's on the other end of that deal? We as a people have lost compassion for one another. You have other communities of people who will look out for each other. The Chinese look out for the Chinese. The Arabs look out for the Arabs. Whites look out for whites. Latinos look out for Latinos. Negroes, they don't look out for each other for nothing in the world. As a matter of fact, most of us can't stand each other, and we don't even need a reason. As a matter of fact, when people are losing their homes, you got somebody else that look just like them rejoicing about it. That's the kind of sickness and madness we have going on in the so-called black community. As I watch these women bidding on these houses for their for their boss, sitting there saying, oh, we won this one. And she knows that the target are people who live in those homes, who actually own the homes and fell behind on their taxes. So they know that these are our own people who fell on hard times or whatever, who couldn't pay the over-assessed taxes. Now, there was an admission. They did admit that a lot of the properties in Detroit have tax bills that are over-assessed. They're way too high for the property. But there are no amends being made to these homeowners. They're not stopping them from losing their homes. And when they were contacted, the city and the county, they are going to do absolutely nothing about it. So many of these people are losing their homes. They were showing the map of all the homes that have delinquent taxes, and they said the percentage is so high that just about every home in the city of Detroit have some type of delinquent taxes. They allow you to get 3 years, but still, if you're dealing with a person on a fixed income, it's easier said than done for them to just come up with a few $1,000s to pay taxes on an over-assessed property. Come on now. During the property bubble, a lot of taxes went high. And then when the bubble burst, they remained high. They didn't make an adjustment for the economy. And so a lot of people are stuck in these high tax brackets for homes that are in disrepair, homes that are in rough neighborhoods. You see, this whole mess has been created by a system that is out of control. Unfortunately, much of it was controlled by our own people. And so we see a lot of displacement going on. And now there are organizations trying to help some people, but they survive mainly on donations and other avenues, other fundraising programs where they try to help homeowners to win their houses back. As a matter of fact, that is a method that I would suggest that a lot of our people, any of you who may live in the city of Detroit or in Wayne County, and you're in this position of possibly losing your home for delinquent taxes, this is what I would say to you. When they are putting your home up, your property up for auction, if you have the money, go and bid on your own home, because here's the deal. Even though you may lose it for X amount of dollars, when the bidding process takes place, listen to me, family, when your house goes up for auction, it's going to go for a lot less than what you actually owe. So you may essentially owe $3,000, and you're saying to yourself, I can't come up with $3,000 to pay for taxes on my property. But when it goes to auction, your house might only go for $500 in taxes. Now, that's not every situation, but there are situations like that where even though you may owe X amount of dollars, you might owe $10,000 in back taxes, but your property may auction off for $2,000. You can bid on your own property in a tax sale. You can absolutely do that. And so that's my word of advice for anyone who's in this situation. It was a very sad thing to look at, to see our people losing their homes like this, and an investor just coming in, swooping in, and just taking the properties. A very sad thing to see it happening for such a small amount. And we're not talking about a mortgage foreclosure. Usually with a mortgage foreclosure, a person can't afford to pay the high mortgage, and so the bank takes the property back, and then the bank sells the property. We're talking about tax foreclosure. A tax foreclosure, to me, is such an unfair practice, to where another person could bid on your property for just a few $100s and just completely trump any amount of money you've put into the house. That's ridiculous. So that's my word of advice. That's my little tidbit of educational information for you as it relates to trying to get your home back. If you are in the process of losing it to taxes, you can be the person to go and bid on your home. Okay, family, with that, I'm going to say shalom.